Hello dear all. Now today we will start about class 12. Now we have one important major chapter in class 12 home science, that is unit 2 chapter 2 clinical nutrition and dietetics, where our concerned topic will be modifying diet or modified diet. After reading this chapter or after learning all these topics, we will learn about the need for modifying diet. We will know different kinds of modification, uh, or different kinds of root feeding. What are the relationship between health and nutrition? That is very important. And other scope of nutrition or clinical nutrition, better say clinical nutrition. So let's start about the chapter. So the first thing which is coming, that is about the nutrition. So we all know what nutrition is, because you already learned about the importance of nutrition in our daily life, right? Still, uh, in details, if you want to know about what nutrition is, that is basically a science of food, nutrient and other substances, as well as their digestion, assimilation, utilization by the body. It is also related to our social, psychological, economic aspects of the food. So in one sentence we can also uh, write, or we can also say that the science of food and its relation to our health is defined as nutrition. Okay, so basically it is a broad aspect of science. Okay, and here the clinical nutrition. Now if we learn about clinical nutrition, here in this chapter we will basically learn about the clinical nutrition. Now what clinical nutrition is? Clinical nutrition is specialized area of nutrition which deals with nutritional management during illness or sickness. It is also known like medical nutrition therapy or diet therapy. Okay, now if you want to know that what are the significances of this clinical nutrition, or the particular um, consulting thing about or concerned things about clinical nutrition, see, clinical nutrition and this chapter, basically clinical nutrition and dietetics, is concerned with the nutritional requirements of patients suffering from different disease, different severity, malnutrition, and prescribing them the right type of the diet for them. Like, it is not a generalized diet pattern that, yeah, every person or each and every age group will have one similar kinds of nutrition. Okay, so the clinical nutrition deals with basically the medical nutrition or the nutrition therapy, which is a very important aspect of the dietary management for various disease, and also to prevent various disease and promote good health. So here, this one term you need to learn, that is diet and dietetics and diet therapy also. So here what we are going to learn about dietetics, that is basically dietetics is practical application of the clinical nutrition. It is a branch of medicine concerned with how food and nutrition affects the human health, and the rules to be followed for preventing or curing, or to control a disease by the diet only, like by the diet therapy. Now one common thing that we are listening from the first thing of the video, that is diet therapy. Now what diet therapy is? So diet therapy is basically defined as the use of the food in treatment of the disease. This is basically done by changing the normal diet or the regular diet in order to meet the altered amount of nutrients or requirements resulting from the illness or injury. So what are the main aim of diet therapy? We will come to this topic, but before that we will learn about we already learned about this dietetics. Like, see, like in this case, dietetics is the integration, application and communication of principles derived from the food, nutrition, social, business, basic sciences to achieve and mental optimal amount of or standard amount of nutrition status of individuals. Now basically, what does it mean? What does dietetics mean? The same thing that I told earlier, that it is a branch of medicine concerned how food, this is how food, and you can see that medical medical technology, how this both affects the human health, and how this both rules to be, and how this all these rules to be followed for preventing or curing, or you can say for controlling one disease by diet therapy. Now we already discussed about diet therapy, what diet therapy is, and here we basically learned about what basic nutrition is and what clinical nutrition is. Okay, now we will learn about applied nutrition. Why we will learn about applied nutrition? Because if we don't learn about the applied nutrition, we will not have the concept about clinical nutrition. Because see, whenever we are going to learn about the nutrition, that is it is a scientific base of human nutrition. Like what are our general requirement, what are our nutrient requirement, how our body reacts on some deficiencies. These are the basic nutrients or basic nutrition science, which basically deals with the digestion, absorption, utilization or assimilation of food by the body. Optimum nutrition is obviously important for providing our immunity, for providing good health, or promote recovery from various chronic or acute diseases, right? But what are the applied nutrition? See, applied nutrition is the nutrition in our daily life. The application of the knowledge of nutrition or basic science of nutrition in our daily lives. So it is the relationship between nutrition and health and wellness, obviously wellness of the general population of all kinds of health, which ultimately promote the healthy eating, prevention of malnutrition and all nutrition related diseases. It may be the anemia, it may be the constipation, also it may be the IBS, like irritable bowel syndrome, all kinds of nutrition related disease. And also it will promote the good dietary habits. What should we follow? The good amount of diet, what is the balanced diet, what are the need of balanced diet, etc, etc. Now while we are studying about clinical nutrition, it basically tells us the relationship between health and nutrition, with and how it deals with acute or major diseases in all cases, like in all age, in different states, in different countries, like all this. Okay, so we have in nutrition field, we have so many fields. Okay, and in medical nutrition fields we have basically this two field, that is applied nutrition and clinical nutrition. Clear? So now after this, again we are revising this. See what nutrition is. Nutrition is the process of living being ability to eat, digest food, and use of the components of those foods to fuel growth and development, to basically to promote the growth and development. This growth and development, this is the basic need of our body, I mean basic purpose of nutrition. So this growth, I mean everything is required for growth and development. And if we are facing some problem, some malnutrition problem, some deficiency problem, or some chronic diseases we are facing, or problems that are coming from, those are coming from chronic diseases, then it will harm our growth and harm our overall development. So that is why nutrition is important for our everyday life. Now yeah, why important is important. Now I already told about all these points, like nutrition plays important role in osteoporosis and cancer. Like I said it, like in case of chronic diseases, if we suffer, if we are if we are facing some problem in chronic diseases, like ulcer, like hormonal problem, like osteoporosis, like vitamin D deficiency, cancer, nutrition plays a good role to control it. Okay, we cannot say that nutrition can cure the cancer, but yeah, in some stages, like in first stages, nutrition is very important, like the diet that is full of antioxidants, the diet that is full of lycopene and etc., it will really help to control the cell growth or the abnormal cell growth that usually happens in cancer or malignancy. So, and in case of various deficiency diseases like scurvy, pellagra, in developing our immunity, or to strengthen our immunity, nutrition is definitely important. Like if you are watching that in our COVID-19 pandemic, in this pandemic only, we are seeing that in our home quarantine, all the doctors are saying that put emphasis, like put your all strength in your diet, like you have good exercises, you have good health habits, good eating habits also. So all the problems generating from the nutrition, and nutrition can only solve those problems. Okay, so this is the thing, this is the thing that those are some points that you have to remember. Now the thing is, what is the relationship between health and nutrition? See, this is very important question for your board also. Like in your board you can face some objective questions or some multiple choice question, or you may face some case study based question. There you may face like this kind of question, like clinical nutrition area, or how this health and nutrition are closely interlinked. See, this health and nutrition are closely interlinked because illness can cause of the nutrient imbalance. You can see that this is the malnutrition, and malnutrition is basically generating the infection, right? And because if we are suffering from malnutrition, then eventually we will suffer from infection, because we are having poor resistance power, we are having almost like no immunity or poor immunity, that eventually leads to infection. So that means illness can cause nutrient imbalance. Even in some individuals with good nutritional status before the disease, like the diet we consume has a direct and significant impact on our health. Okay, like you can see this, that nutrition basically help in our proper growth and development. Okay, it gives us specific protection, It is the cause of a reduction of mortality and morbidity. Mortality means in Bengali we call it mrityu har, and morbidity means the diseased condition. And obviously it is very very important that nutrition helps to resistance uh, to resist a various infection. That means it promotes our it promotes our immunity power, and eventually it promotes our good health. So without proper nutrition our health cannot work, our body cannot work properly, and without proper nutrition we will not get our health. And as we all know that health is wealth, so if you are not healthy mentally and physiologically, then you will not be a socially productive person. If you will not be a socially productive person, then nobody will accept you, okay, and you will again depressed mentally. Okay, in Bengali we can say it Bengali like আমরা যদি কোনো ভাবে ধরো সোশ্যালি প্রোডাক্টিভ হতে পারছি না, বিকজ আই এম নট ফিট, আই এম নট দ্যাট মাচ ফিট, আমি সেরকমভাবে কাজ করতে পারছি না, তো আমি কাজ না করতে পারলে আমি সোশ্যালি ফিট হতে পারবো না, রাইট? সো সোশ্যালি ফিট না হতে পারলে আমি ইকোনমিক্যালি প্রোডাক্টিভ হতে পারবো না, আমি বেশি টাকা রোজগার করতে পারবো না। অ্যান্ড ওয়েন আই এম ফেলিং দ্যাট, আমি যখন এই বেশি টাকা রোজগার করতে ফেল করছি, অ্যাট দ্যাট টাইম we are simply facing some having basic needs, I mean problem of having basic needs, আমাদের basic need পেতে প্রবলেম হচ্ছে, লাইক আমরা মেডিকেল মেডিসিনস ঠিক মতো পেতে পারছি না, আর মেডিসিনস ঠিক মতো পেতে না পারলে অবভিয়াসলি আমাদের ইনফেকশন, আমাদের ম্যালনিউট্রিশন, আমাদের ডেফিসিয়েন্সি আরও বেশি বাড়বে, সো উইচ ইভেন্চুয়ালি উইল লিড টু ডেথ. So it is like a VCS cycle which I already provided you in the class. So this is all about this particular topic. Now then we are coming to, okay, this is the part of clinical nutrition and how this basically work administrationally. So this is not so important, this is you can go through this slide. So the next thing is therapeutic diet. This is the most important thing for this chapter, for your board also, that is therapeutic diet. Now therapeutic diet or diet therapy is what, I mean, why should we need it, right? So see, therapeutic diet is a qualitative or quantitative modification of the normal diet. Okay, you can say the regular diet. If we modify a regular diet, like if we alter some nutrient, if we alter some consistency of that particular regular diet, then we will have a modified diet. Okay, now this is a therapy, this whole process is a therapy which is defined, like which is also, we can say diet therapy is defined as the use of food for treating any disease, any particular disease. Obviously we cannot provide a fever diet, like we cannot provide a diabetic diet to a hypertensed patient, okay, to a patient of hypertension, you can say it. So what is the basic thing we need to learn, that what is therapeutic diet? Therapeutic diets are the meal plans which are designed to assist a resident who may have nutritional issues requiring some modification to the foods which are provided to them. So that means in easier language, it is a diet, a qualitative or a quantitative modified version of a normal regular diet which has been adjusted according to the nutritional needs of that particular patient to improve his or her specific health issue. Okay, that means suppose I have diabetes, I have a sugar level of like 200 or 250, and it is a postprandial, like PP concentration of sugar is 200. Okay, so now if I don't take a modified diet or a modified diet of for this diabetes mellitus, then I will definitely will suffer from this diabetes for more and more days. Like in this condition, in diabetes condition, I have to take low sugar diet, high fiber diet, high protein. We need to alter some nutrient content in our like regular diet, right? So that means and this and after having this modified diet, after 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, I will see that my sugar level are getting normal day by day or gradually. So that means this is not a overnight process. That means therapeutic diet or the diet therapy is not a overnight process. This is a therapy, and by this process, um, the changes will come gradually. You cannot you if you are going for a weightless diet or like even if you are going for a diet which is low carb or which is low fat, which will help to reduce your weight, then you will not see the result overnight or 15 days or by 15 days. It is a gradual process, and that you have to believe nutritionally. Okay, so the next thing is diet therapy, which I already said that therapy is concerned with recovery from some illness and prevention of disease. So what are the purpose of the diet therapy? What are the purposes of this diet therapy? The main purpose is to maintain normal nutrition and health. Okay, that are basically based on balanced diet. To treat deficiency diseases, we will modify some nutrient content. If if someone is suffering from protein energy malnutrition, then we will provide them high protein, high calorie diet to prevent or to cure that particular problem. We will alter, with the purpose is the altering a nutrient requirement according to the body's ability to use that particular nutrient. That means the modifying, for an example we can say like what I said, alter nutrient requirement according to the body's ability to use that particular nutrient. That means in the case of diabetic diet, we need to modify the amount of carbohydrates, because in a diabetic patient's body, uh, in a diabetic patient, his or her body has not that much ability to absorb carbohydrate, because he is suffering in a disease which is insulin resistant diabetes, or which has a problem of producing insulin, or which has a problem of generating insulin sense. Okay, so it will definitely cause it will definitely not able to absorb carbohydrate perfectly in a perfect manner. So we need to modify the carbohydrate amount in this particular diabetic diet. So that means the purpose of diet therapy is also altering nutrient requirement according to the body's ability to use the particular nutrient, and obviously to give rest to the particular organ or to the body. Okay, like if we have jaundice or if we have diarrhea, we will have a soft diet, we will have a low fiber diet, which will eventually give a rest to the particular organ, that is colon. Or if we are suffering in jaundice, then we will take lower fat, because our liver is not ready to to have, to absorb, to digest the fat properly. So that means eventually we are giving rest to that particular organ. Now next thing is obviously changing body weight. We use low calorie diet in obesity to lose weight. Okay, so now what is the next topic? Basically the next topic is the classification of the therapeutic diet or classification of the modified diet. See, modified diets are broadly uh, altered in this manner. Like, we have modification in consistency. These are the consistency: liquid, soft, mechanical, soft, etc. Consistency. We can modify diet in consistency. We can modify diet in nutrient content. That is you can see that high protein diet, sodium restricted diet, fat restricted diet or low fat diet, calorie control diet, low cholesterol diet. These are the nutrient modification through the nutrient content. And another is modification in quantity. By seeing some symptoms, we can reduce or increase some quantity of some particular food. Like in obesity, we can decrease the quantity of the food. In diarrhea, we can decrease the quantity of food. But in other kind of, like in dizziness or in anemia, we can increase the particular quantity. We can increase the nutrient content also. Next thing is special method of feeding, like modification in the method of feeding. We will come to this broad area later. Now let's study about, okay, this is the portion that you need to learn. That let's zoom it. Now I hope you can see that we have modified diets. This is the modified diet. This is the modified diet. And we have consistencies modification, nutrient content modification, quantitatively modification, and the spatial methods of the feeding. And you can see that in consistency we have some particular diet therapy, that is, and these have some particular name also. That is clear fluid diet or clear liquid diet, full fluid diet or full liquid diet, soft diet, mechanical diet, lightweight diet, pureed diet, blunt diet. These are the consistent. That means we are altering the consistency in this kind of food. Now we will obviously see detailed manner, but before that, now see, these are the spatial methods of feeding. What is the spatial methods of feeding? Like the tube feeding and the intravenous feeding. Okay, so this is one important thing that you have to learn. So next thing is, okay, coming to the details or explanation of regular diet. Now see, regular diet or normal diet is used for the ambulatory patient, and which at this time some use sometimes we can slightly alter some calorific content, but no such changes is there. The balanced diet is provided. And like in case of fracture, okay, in case of some fracture, you need to I mean, fracture means mild fracture. In case of just after the just after some trauma or anything, you can have this regular diet. So food such as rich, like dessert, cream, this can be this can be provided, and fried foods may be decreased or omitted sometimes. Now coming to the main part, that is modification of the consistency, like soft diet, clear fluid diet, full fluid diet. What are those? Like coming to the liquid diet, liquid diet, that is the clear fluid diet. I mean, liquid diet are basically two types. One is clear fluid diet, another is full fluid diet. So clear fluid diet is basically a clear liquid diet which is used for short time period when there is a acute vomiting or acute diarrhea, or when minimal bowel is reduced is desired, or you can say like individuals to test individuals ability to tolerate oral food. And these diets are basically free from any kind of solid diet, even milk also. We can stop providing milk also, because if we see that some patient are of milk are not tolerant, transparent, and some patient also having problem of lactose intolerance, we cannot give them milk because milk is not a clear fluid. Now basic problem is what? The basic problem of clear fluid diet, it is inadequate in all nutrient. Now what are general food that we can give in this clear fluid diet? That is barley water, sagu kanji, rice kanji, clear soup, beverages like lime soda, coconut water, sugarcane juice, carbonated beverage, apple juice, grape juice, popsicles, ginger tea we can give. Now it is high in simple sugar, you can say, and needs to be modified for diabetic individuals. Like if I am a diabetic patient, then the sugar content will be definitely reduced. Like in ginger tea we will not put sugar, in barley water we will not put sugar, in juices we will see the glycemic index of the fruits. Like we can give apple juice, but we cannot provide grape juice because grape is having high glycemic index. Now another thing is the amount of fluid is given initially, that is 40 to 80 ml per hour, which is gradually increased then up to maximum 100 to 120 ml per hour. That you have to remember, you can note it down. Next the thing that is the clear fluid diet, and next thing that is important, that is full fluid diet or full liquid diet. That is basically prescribed for individuals who are unable to chew or swallow, or having some problem in mouth. So this is also a diet which is having some lack, some nutritional lack. But if it is well planned, then it can meet most of the RDS sometimes. However, due to difficulty in consuming adequate amounts of food from the bodybuilding food like cereal food groups, vitamins, minerals, supplement, they should be given. If the diet is to be used for longer duration, like if you use diet for longer duration, you can add some mineral or vitamin supplements. What kind of food are included? The foods are included like eggnog milkshake, plain ice cream you can give, china grass jelly you can give, oat meals, soya milk, healthy drink you can give. And here also, if the patient is diabetic, the sugar content will be altered. um, what are kind of what kind of what kind of time, why should we prescribe this and when should we prescribe this? uh, it is prescribed during the acute infection, and diarrhea, gastritis, etc. And obviously when the person is too ill, or he cannot eat, he cannot chew properly. So this is about the liquid diet. Now coming to the soft diet, this is basically between the full liquid diet and light diet, and it is general a hospital diet. You can say it is a general hospital diet. So a wide variety of food from the basic food group can be selected in this diet, which are nutritionally adequate. And it can be planned well. Cooking method should be the boiling. We can use some basic cooking method, that is steaming, stewing, boiling. These are the cooking methods we can follow. And strongly we will avoid fiber, I mean high fiber content, like salad we cannot give, masalas, pickles we cannot give, we have to avoid it. And here I will have to mention one another diet kind, what another diet form, that is mechanical soft diet, and it is also known as a dental diet. It is basically a variation of soft diet. um, because when you are having a problem of chewing or swallow, then we can prescribe this mechanical soft diet. Now which kind of diet should be um, given, like potatoes, mashed potato you can give like milk suji, or finely chopped vegetable, blenderized vegetables in the stew, which is easy to absorb and also easy to swallow, and obviously no difficulty in chewing. Mm, so, and obviously those and when should it be given? When there is some teeth problem, some gum problem, some difficulty in chewing, in mouth cancer also you can give mechanical soft diet, I mean in the first stage, or in mouth ulcer, not mouth cancer, mouth ulcer. Next thing is blunt diet. Obviously this is very important. I am saying this because this is my favorite portion of clinical nutrition. See, this diet is prescribed for individuals suffering from like gastric ulcers or duodenal ulcers or gastritis or colitis or ulcerative colitis, like this problem. It generally includes foods which are mechanically, chemically, thermally non irritating. Like foods are low in fiber generally are recommended. Stimulating beverages, spicy foods, which generally increase the gastric secretion, or which generally increase the secretion of the gastric juice like HCl. This food must be avoided. Like food to avoid like include strong tea, coffee, alcoholic beverages, condiments, spices, black tea, pepper, red chili powder, cloves, these kinds of all the spices we have to avoid. And obviously we have to avoid like high fiber foods, hot soups, this we have to avoid in the blunt diet. uh, and obviously what kind of foods we have to include, মানে আমরা কি কি include করতে পারি, we should have include like the milk and milk based preparation, refined rice, refined cereal, soft rice, cream, butter, egg preparations. Obviously we cannot give them fried eggs, but still like half boiled egg we can give them, like dehusked pulse, boiled or baked tender cuts meat we can give them. This is all about the plant diet. And here I have given some diabetic diet, some diet pattern, because here you can see that how we are modifying, or how the dietitians used to modify the nutrient content. Okay, like I'm giving some important diseases, example of important diseases where you can change and or alter the nutrient. Like in atherosclerosis, the main nutrient that is modified is fat is controlled, low cholesterol, and the diet is low cholesterol diet. In hepatitis, the modified diet is the restricted fat diet. In anemia, high fever, the main diet is high protein diet. In lactose intolerance, the main protein is the main modification is the in diet is basically the diet should be lactose free. In hepatic coma we also give low protein diet. In underweight malnutrition, the main modification will be in calorie, so that means the diet will be high calorie diet. Sometimes we have high fiber diet, low fiber diet. Sometimes we have high carbohydrate, low carbohydrate diet, low residue diet, or low fiber diet. So all these are the kinds of modification in nutrient. Okay, now the next thing, yeah, this is all this we this is the modification nutrient. Like you can see, I have already told you, like high protein diet, regular diet with added protein. You can add meats, fish, cheese, eggs, etc., and locally available protein rich food like pulses, soybean, etc. uh, Again, the calorie control diet we actually give in low calorie diet, we actually give the patient of overweight or obesity. Now the next thing is modification on in methods of feeding. Now see, in your book you will find this like in tube feeding and intravenous feeding, but in the term of nutrition we basically call it enteral. We can call it enteral nutrition and the parenteral nutrition. Okay, like both are not same, but enteral nutrition is given through nasogastric. You can see this is the nasogastric tube. You can see, you can provide the enteral nutrition through a Ryle's tube, to a Ryle's tube. Okay, uh, you can also give them in through jejunostomy, like through this stomach jejunum, you can give them. So and another thing is parenteral. Parenteral is important. It is also important method of feeding. uh, this particular method of feeding is restored when the intestine is not functioning and it needs to rest. Now, parenteral fluids basically contain water, glucose, amino acids, mineral, vitamins, all the nutrient, not any bolus. Okay, but in enteral feeding, the basically sometimes oral feeding is not possible. Sometimes patients have a problem in swallowing, difficulty in chewing, but their gastrointestinal tract is functioning at that time. Now this time tube feeding is provided, like this method is followed. A wide variety of enteral feeding formulas are available. Here we have to follow some important characteristics, like carbohydrate are given in a form of disaccharides or glucose polymers, which are easy to broken, like quickly broken down to glucose. Next thing, the feeding routes. Now you can see this is a formula food, or this is a formula that is prepared and that is provided in the enteral feeding or tube feeding. Now the feeding route, in the feeding route, what is tube feeding? Like if gastrointestinal tract is working properly, we can still move food through the body. Okay, now tube feeding is used, and some liquid formula diet which are nutritionally adequate are delivered through the nasogastric tube. You can see in this is the nasogastric. Now see, this is the nasogastric, through nasogastric tube. Now tube feeding may be used to feed people whose digestive tract is functioning normally, but who cannot eat enough to meet their nutritional need, like such kind of patient who are suffering from loss of appetite for a long time, severe protein energy malnutrition, like problem, liver failure, head or neck injury, serious injury, burns, third degree burns. These are the problems where you can give them tube feeding. Okay, okay, now coming, okay, this is the Ryle's tube. This is the main main thing by which tube feeding are happening. Like this is the rice tube. Okay, now next thing is parenteral feeding, intravenous feeding, or parenteral nutrition therapy. Now this is parenteral nutrition is sometimes also called intravenous feedings, where the patient is nourished with special solution like minerals, vitamins, fatty acids, amino acids, all the nutrient form, and these are given through the drip format or the vein, which can be peripheral, which can be central. It is given when the patient cannot eat or absorb enough food through tube feeding also, okay, by mouth uh, and something, when the digestive tract cannot absorb the nutrition properly. Okay, that is why we are providing the uh, unit of any nutrient like the amino acid, like the glucose, which are very easily absorbed. Mm, and it can be provided like just after some operation, or some severely ill patient of cancer, severely ill patient of uh, some some other diseases, you can say, like coma, hepatic coma, like this. So this basically tube feeding is preferred over the intravenous feeding. If the gastrointestinal tract is working well, then you can switch to tube feeding. So next thing is in general, tube feeding or intravenous feeding, when it should be given, we already have discussed about this. Now the main thing is, see, why am I giving this portion or this thing which is not in your syllabus? Because this is the high time we should raise our voice in fad diets. What is fad diet? Basically it is a trend, it is a new way of diet, like the detox diet, the keto diet, the weight loss diet. So basically, see, these kinds of diets are basically known as fads or fad diet. Now these kinds of diet are very popular and very trendy, and this often promises to lose your weight. That, yeah, there are some fake nutritionists, there is some fake wellness coach who basically told you, who basically used to tell you that come to me, I will give promise that through this detox diet, through this low carb diet, through this keto diet, you will lose your weight like in within 15 days, within 20 days. But trust me, this is not possible. That is why I already mentioned that trust your dietitian to know about nutrition, because just nobody can have a knowledge of nutrition without having a degree of nutrition. Basically, see, like we cannot become a doctor just by searching Google. Similarly, everyone cannot become dietitian just by searching Google. Okay, that we have to understand, and this is the high time when we should raise our voice clearly. Now see, what are the some characteristics of fat diets that people are they usually promote, that yeah, you will lose your diet very you will lose your weight very quickly. Okay, this is this is some testimonials of, this is some famous people, like see, this person has 20 kg lost. I mean, he or she has lost 20 kgs within 15 days. So see, this is a meme that I usually prefer, that people usually go to those fake nutritionists, those fake wellness coach, because because they used to give you some like what should I say, like like some interesting discount, like see, you are getting discount in my shop, in my chamber, so come in 15 days. Some are claiming that in 10 days he will reduce 7 kg, he will reduce 10 kg, but nobody will tell you what are the consequences of this kind of fat diets. So please trust your dietitian or go to dietitian if you are really interested in losing weight, because dietitian will check your nutritional status. She will or he will assess your nutritional problem, then he or she will prescribe you diet which will going to change after 7 days or after 10 days. After seeing your body reaction, the dietitian will change it. Sometimes she can modify it by quantity, by quality, by some other technique. But it is or weight loss program or weight gaining program, this whole program is a gradual process. This is not a overnight process. This nutrition, this whole nutrition is not a overnight process, that you have to understand. Okay, now here we will say that what is dietitian actually. Now a very well known persons are dietitian, today's dietitians. uh, See, like here we need to discuss some things about dietitian, uh, that what are their roles. See, uh, these are some rules of dietitian, this you have to write. But what are the main roles of dietitian? Why do we need a dietitian basically? See, basically dietitian is responsible for ensuring that the patient receives appropriate diet with optimal nutrition care. After assessing, you need to remember that after assessment of nutritional status by ABCD method. Okay, ABCD method you haven't learned now, but he or she will assess your nutritional status, then only he or she will provide you your diet, which is not a generalized diet. That is the main role of dietitian. Okay, and he or she obviously is an expert in nutrition. He or she knows what are the risk of giving some particular diet, some particular diet format. Next thing is he or she will administer suitable diet regimens to the hospitalized patient as well as those in outdoor patients like OPD. Okay, now usually in hospital the clinical dietitians form a team in patient care with with their healthcare professionals in order to carry out nutritional assessment, which includes basically obtaining detailed information on health, diet pattern, personal medication, and the other health histories. Anthropometric measurements he or she will do or her team will do. He will interpret all the above assessment, and then only he or she will identify the potential nutritional deficiency or the future deficiency that can come, or the risk can come uh, after providing the diet. After that he or she will provide you your diet, that means the specific or the particular diet. He or she will not provide a generalized diet like the fake dietitian or the fake nutritionist usually do, that see this is the detox diet, like a particular diet খেয়ে আমার এই পেশেন্ট ইনামিনা ডিকা ভালো হয়ে গেছে, তো ইনামিনা ডিকা ভালো হয়ে গেছে বলে মানে যদু মধু যদুও ভালো হয়ে যাবে. This is not thing. This is a high time we need to make everyone understand what are the specific role of dietitian basically in the situation of COVID-19, because in some days like in in this days I am searching, or I am seeing that in various sites some random persons are coming, and she or he is telling that in COVID pandemic you should eat this. Everything will boost your general will boost your immunity. But why this generalized diet? Why someone will follow a generalized diet after before knowing everything about that particular diet? No, this is not okay with the society. Now this is all our clinical dietitian's role, which I already told about. Now the next thing is why we need to hire a clinical nutritionist or clinical dietitian. Because the main reason is because new clinical dietitian has become a core part of the clinical team. And I told you that this clinical dietitian will form a team in patient care, or to care the patient, to handle the patient. And this clinical dietitian become a core part between doctor, patient and nurse. Without doctor, patient, nurse and dietitian, a team will not be completed. Okay, so this is why every leading hospital in our India is having a chief clinical dietitian. Okay, now what is the role of dietitian in preventing chronic diseases? But before that we need to understand what are chronic diseases. See, this heart disease, cancer, lifestyle diseases like diabetes or PCOD, chronic kidney diseases stage 1, stage 2, this is all are the chronic diseases. That means those are not acute. Like what are their role? See, in preventing some chronic diseases we need some specific dietary changes to prevent them or to control them. Like chronic diseases like cardiovascular problem like atherosclerosis, some vitamin deficiencies like osteoporosis, like rheumatoid arthritis, etc. So like chronic diseases can be treated with a long term diet therapy only, by alteration some specific nutrient uh, in normal diet of that particular patient. Okay, so this is why we need dietitian's advice. Now this is a role of dietitian. This is whole thing is a role of dietitian. Let's see that his role, like in pre-operative, intraoperative, post-operative system, like how does dietitian's team help. Like this is the thing you go through this slide. Okay, like after that we need to, okay, what the dietitians do. And you see, assess nutritional status, prescribe therapeutic nutrition, counsel and educate other coach or the patient. Now the scope of career. And but before that you need to know that how can we prepare a career in clinical nutrition. The basic qualification is passing 10 plus 2 level that you know. And after passing the basic level of clinical nutrition, go for BSc food and nutrition or BSc applied nutrition. After that you have to do postgraduate in clinical nutrition and dietetics, that is CND, clinical nutrition on dietetics, that is CND. Or you can go for post graduation in subject applied nutrition or community nutrition, you can go for. Then you have to do some diploma, PG diploma, and then you have to go for hospital internship for minimum 6 months from any leading like AIMS or Indian Dietetic Association certified any hospital. And then you can join any hospital, or you can start your self clinical practices. But if you need a special career, or if you need very very what I say, like very famous, if you need to become like a famous dietitian, you need to become a registered dietitian. In our country we have a yearly exam of registered dietitian which have some specific criteria. Then if you gain a registration like the doctors have, then you can practice and you can have you can earn a good amount of money. What is the scope of research? Our government is always taking clinical nutritionist, and there you can research. College and universities, you can pursue after post graduation, you can pursue directly PhD, and you can go for college universities lecturer, you can go for professor. Scope in sports nutrition, yes, sports nutrition also need a dietitian or sports nutritionist we call them. After having the postgraduate in after having a postgraduate degree in applied nutrition or CND, go for a diploma in sports nutrition, SN, go for in sports nutrition or SPN, and you can have a really important career in sports nutrition. So here I am ending the whole chapter, and see, prevention is lot easier than cure. If we really run for the fad diets, for the fake dietitians, for the fake nutritionist, or some or some like wellness coaches, we will not get a healthy lifestyle, definitely not. So remembering this, study well, remember this, and obviously follow all the COVID protocols. We are really having a tough time, guys, and yeah, have a nice day, and thank you for listening.